So in this episode, we're going to create a service. We're going to create a service using DBMS service. We are going to do so in a DataGuard physical standby environment. We're going to set up and configure connect time failover, and we're going to test this connect time failover before and after we do a DataGuard switchover. The first thing we're going to do here is create a service using DBMS service. Now, if I had Oracle RAC, this is a non-RAC, non-Oracle restart environment. And let's take a look at that. I'm going to do a TS-MyCF. This is the primary database, and over here, this is the physical standby. Now, this is a non-RAC, non-Oracle restart environment. If it were RAC or Oracle restart, we'd be using the srvctl command. And those commands can be found in, if it were a RAC, we'd be using Appendix A of the RAC admin guide. If it were an Oracle restart, we'd be using Chapter 4 of the Database Administrator's Guide. But in this case, it's non-RAC, non-Oracle restart, so we're going to use DBMS service. So let's go ahead and start that. Let's create a service. The first thing I need to do, though, is I'm going to show you the following. Show parameter service. Now I'm going to create a service that's called OCM, and I just want to show you that it's not here at the moment, and it's not. Let's do select name from DBA services. And we can see what the services are, and OCM is not among them. So now we're going to create a service. Service. Create. Service. It's going to be called OCM, and the TNS names is going to be called OCM. And we're going to put in some failover parameters. So let's use failover method. Method is DBMS service failover method basic. Failover type is DBMS service.failover type. And for good measure, we're going to do the CLB goal. And that is DBMS service CLB goal long. Let's go ahead and start this service. DBMS service start service. Now let's see what happens. Let's go ahead and take a look at show parameter service. And now you can see that we have a service name called OCM. Show. Let's go ahead and do select. Name, network name, and CLB goal DBA services. And now you can see. Okay, so what we want to do at this point now is to create a TNS names entry with connect time failover. So I'm going to use the net manager command to do that. I'm going to call this service OCM, or the TNS names entry to be called OCM, and it's going to point to the service called OCM. Oops. Okay, so now we've created that TNS names entry. Let's take a look at it. We're going to have to edit it, of course. Okay, so this looks good. The only thing we need to add here is balance off equals off. Failover equals on. And let's test it out. So now let's do SQL plus. Actually, let's first of all TNSP of OCM. And then let's try that. System. And we were successful. So now we have this TNS names entry created, but we need to copy this over to the standby as well. So actually, I want my TNS names to be the same on both sides. So I'm going to say SCP TNS names world to let's just check it out. And there it is. So let's try it out also here. Oops. System/lambda@OCM. And we were successful. So what we have to do now is actually create triggers. If we had an Oracle RAC environment or we had an Oracle restart environment, we'd be using the srvctl command to create our service. And in those commands, or in that command, we were able to set up the service so that it would fail over from one database to another in case of a failure or a switchover. But in our case, we don't have RAC or Oracle restart, so we actually have to create some triggers to make this happen, and I've already done that and I want to review that, so let's take a look. I'm actually creating two triggers. One is when the database first starts up, it's going to check the role. If it's a primary, it's going to start the service that I've already created via DBMS service, but it's going to start the service and after a role change. So if the database changes role from, say, primary to standby or standby to primary, then it will start the service, otherwise it will stop the service. So let's go ahead and create those now. Okay, so what's left to do? So now we need to test connect time failover in before and after we do a switchover of the database via DataGuard. So first off, let's go ahead and run the following query. Select name db unique name from BB database. And let's do the same thing over here on the standby side. System. Add OCM. Select name unique name from BB database. Okay, so it's connecting to the source database, and we know this because we have a listener running here. So status. So the OCM listener is running here, or service, excuse me. The OCM service is running here. So now let's go ahead and do a switch over. Okay, so the switchover is now complete. Exit. We run LSN on our CTL status. Notice that the OCM service is no longer running here, but it should be running here. LSN on our CTL status. And sure enough, it is. Now let's go ahead and run our query again. Plus system/lambda add OCM. Select name, comma, db unique database. And now we're connected to the target as opposed to the source DB. In fact, let's do it over here as well. Plus system. Add OCM. And we're connected to the target. And